drips away, days burn, disintegrate, years roll along and fade, don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today, these are the good old days. Right here, right now, today, hey, these are the good old days.
In the 80s through to the early 90s, we lived in what some would call the golden age of action figures. It seemed like every few months there was a new action figure line out there and new adventures to have. Now it seems like with every action figure line, we at least got one or two new vehicles and sometimes a whole wave of vehicles. In a recent video, we raced two Batmobiles against each other to see what was the ultimate Batmobile. That was so much fun that we at Go Figure decided we wanted to find out what the ultimate action figure car was. Now this is a big undertaking. We couldn't test every car from the 80s and early 90s, so we did narrow it down. So we looked at a number of cars and came up with some rules for cars to qualify. The first rule was they had to have a fixed axle, no turning wheels. We didn't want to risk any of these awesome vintage toys veering off the track and causing damage to it or the car that it's racing. The second rule was that any toy line could only have one entry. Some toy lines were so vast that we could have had an entire race just of their vehicles. The third rule was that every named vehicle could only be in at one time. If there was enough Batmobiles that came out back in the day, we could just run Batmobiles against each other. So only one of each named vehicle was allowed in the race. The fourth rule was it had to be the quintessential car of the line, or arguably one of the quintessential cars of the line. So usually it was the first car to come out, hero car, or the main transportation for that character. And the fifth thing was we wanted to make sure we had a good span. Everything from through the 80s up to the early 90s. We didn't want to have just a whole bunch of vehicles from 1983. So we spread our net wide, came up with 8 vehicles, and brought some friends in to help us with this video. So joining us today, we have the bitter Asian dude, Paul Sung-Young Lee, Michael French from Retro Blasting, we have Jay from Geek Dad Life, Mark from Movies, Films, and Flicks, Leslie from Leslie's Toy Box, Ken from Toy Connections, we've got Xazyl from Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse, and we have Canadian legend Ed the Saw.
We then put everyone's name in a hat so we could draw a random order to see who would get to go first in picking their vehicles. So without further ado, let's turn it over to our guests and see what vehicles they chose and why.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Paul Sung-Young Lee, aka Bitter Asian Dude, and my vehicle selection from the 80s or 90s is this classic 1959 Cadillac Miller Meteor. That's right, I'm talking about this, the Ecto-1 from the Ghostbusters. That's right, this was the car of my dreams in my youth. It was a car that housed the Ghostbusters, and who you gonna call? Okay, see you.
Why did I choose the Vamp? I chose the Vamp for a multitude of reasons. One, it is a common sense vehicle. This vehicle makes sense in the world of G.I. Joe. Two, infinitely customizable. The variations that Hasbro put out just kept making it better. The Mark II, the Cobra Stinger, the one that was all black for Cobra from 1982 in Canada, the Dreadnought version, the Tiger Sting, the Tiger Sting one in Europe, the Mail Away Desert Mark II from Canada. There are so many variations, and they're all distinct. And we can't forget the SAS Panther from the Action Force line. This is just a great vehicle. And the last thing I'll say about it is not only is it infinitely customizable for the toy company so they could make multiple variations, but it was affordable enough that most kids were able to get it where they couldn't get a Sky Striker or something like that. And this vehicle is big enough that it has a lot of play value. It's fast, it's rugged, it's very well built, but it's also small enough that you could ostensibly take it with you when your parents were going somewhere, that they were dragging you along for the day on a weekend and you wanted to stay at home and play with your toys. You could pile a few Joes in here and go. And it wasn't fragile like the Awe Striker, like you didn't have to worry about things breaking off of it very much. Yeah, you might lose the gas cans on the back, or the steering wheel if you were really unfortunate. But for the most part, you could take this with you and it would come back intact. and like you could roll it like as hard as you wanted to and it would be fine. Like you'd really have to be super destructive to wreck this thing. So that's why I always choose the Vamp as one of my favorite vintage 80s vehicles.
Hey everybody, Ken with Toy Connections here. And my choice for today's race is the Batmobile. And why is that? Because not only is Batman my favorite superhero of all time, but he's also the world's greatest detective. And as the world's greatest detective, he'll find a way to jerry-rig the Batmobile to somehow win this race. Watch along and let's find out.
Good evening, maggots. Xazyl here from Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse, and we're off to the races. Now, the Triple T wasn't made available to me, so I've had to think outside the box. And I think I've picked a vehicle that will secure the win as easy as shooting turtles in a barrel. For me, I'm going turtle power. Donatello does machines, and this is one mean machine that's done right. The turtle van, or party wagon, is every turtle wrapped into one road-ripping, exhaust-spewing vehicle in a half-shell. It's got Donnie's tech, Leo's maneuverability, Raph's attitude, and Mikey's need to party. Heck, party's in the name. The party wagon isn't just a way to get around New York City. No, it is a powerful, high-speed, technological fortress. You could even go as far as to say the party wagon is the fifth turtle. Cowabunga.
Hey everybody, this is Jay from Geek Dad Life, and I have the Robo One as my entry into this race from Kenner's RoboCop Ultra Police toy line. Love this vehicle as a kid, and this is my, shell of one that I did some testing on to try and see, which out of all of these toy cars is the fastest, and also of the ones that were still available. So I think this one is going to win. It's got a really nice aerodynamic design. The wheels are really fast. So, we'll see how it goes. So good luck to the Robo One, and let's go.
Hey, Mark here from Movies, Films, and Flicks. I chose the Battle Ram from He-Man because it's going to lose. But I like making myself the underdog. And when you look at this Battle Ram, it is unwieldy, it is top-heavy, it's impractical, it doesn't make sense, and that's what Movies, Films, and Flicks is. We are top-heavy, we are impractical, we don't make much sense, and somehow we found success throughout the years with Movies, Films, and Flicks. So I'm taking the Battle Ram. It's going to lose, but it'll lose with style, and I can't wait. But it might win, so who knows? It's gonna be fun.
The reason I picked the Dick Tracy car is really honestly because there really wasn't much left to choose from. There's like 2 cars. And I think it'll win just because I chose it. Really didn't matter which car I picked because that's going to be the winner, right? Okay, that's it. Bye.
Hey everyone, Ed the Sock here. Glad to be on Go Figure. I'm sorry if this goes out of focus, then into focus, out of focus, into... I don't know. It's like the camera's drunk. Anyway, here's why I think the TV mobile van will win the race. Not because I'm biased, because I've spent many, many years in the television industry. No, it's because I've spent time in the television industry that I know that, well, I'm imagining basically, that the van is heading towards a free lunch at craft services. And if you know anything about TV crews, they will go anywhere in a hurry for a free meal. So I'm imagining that the crew in there is all eager to go get themselves a free scoff at somebody's craft services table, which usually, the food is usually crappy, but it's free, and that makes it taste a whole lot better. Anyway, let's see what happens. Let the race begin. I'm out of focus again.
All right, so we've heard from our racers. The day has come, the time is here. Let's head down to the track and see what happens in our first round of racing.
Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Start
results are in for round 1, and the Battle Ram is eliminated. The Ecto-1 eliminated. The Party Wagon eliminated. And Robo-1 is eliminated. Let's go on to round 2 and see what happens next. Alright, and after round 2, the TV van is eliminated, and the G.I. Joe Vamp is eliminated. Let's move on to our final race.
Green Sally up, Green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground. Green Sally up, Green Sally down. Last done start, gotta tell the ground.
There you go. We've established by a narrow margin of a photo finish, the ultimate action figure car is the Dick Tracy squad car. And as we heard from Leslie's Toy Box, she wasn't too confident with this car. She felt a little bit saddled with a underdog. But if Rocky Balboa has taught us anything, it's that an underdog can go the distance. So congratulations, Leslie, on picking a winner. And congratulations to the Dick Tracy squad car by Playmates. You are Go Figures ultimate car. If you like what we're doing, if you had as much fun as us, click the like, subscribe, the bell, all the YouTube stuff. A special thank you to all of our guests for taking part today and just having some fun with us. And hopefully, we'll see you on the next video.